Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we check back in on the frickin' G.I. Joe side of the Energon Universe with a review of Skybound's Scarlett number 4. Today is September 6th, 2024, and this is episode 406 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that wonders, will they or won't they stab each other? I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hi, let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions. Really helps us keep the show going. We really appreciate it. If you are not a Donatron and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that is where you can sign up. And we welcome a new Donatron this week, brand new Donatron. Thank you so much to Isomorphic Prime. So we really appreciate you signing up, and we give you a shout out in both episodes of the week you sign up. So thank you so much.
Some greetings program.
And you get access to all the perks, the bonus content, all the stuff that we give to our Donatrons. And you're at the goodie bag level, which means you're going to get some merchandise in the next few months from Patreon. So enjoy that. All right. So speaking of that bonus content, check out all our episodes of We Like Big Bots. That's our Donatron exclusive show that's only available on our Patreon page. As a Donatron, you get access to that. So that's Daryl and Dr. Pants going through their collections, showing off their biggest of bots. And it's a really fun show. And more is on the way for the rest of the year. We have 14 episodes available right now, and they will be getting back to giving us maybe a couple more before the end of the year. I hope maybe 10 more.
What? I mean, let's say one.
Let's meet in the middle. 5.
We'll meet in the middle again at 1.
That's not the middle.
That's Daryl math.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got our live play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. And we get a bonus episodes, the bonus uncut version of each episode a week early before the regular episode comes out in the main podcast feed. So this week we had Empire of Rust episode 123, As Easy As. So episode 123, As Easy As, the bonus version of that is available right now to Donatrons on our Patreon page. And the regular version of that episode will be out next Monday. So Monday, September 9th at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. This week, we also had a early reaction video by Jeremy, because he's a lucky duck, got to see Transformers 1 extra early. So he put up a video just giving his initial reaction. Oh, no spoilers. So you don't have to worry about spoilers. So you can check out what Jeremy and his son thought about Transformers 1. You can watch that right now.
Yeah, it was a good movie, but there's more I talked about in that 5-minute video.
Yep.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. That's I can spoil. It was a complete movie.
Hey, you never know with Transformers movies.
Yeah.
So that's already clearing a bar there.
Yeah. There was animation, there was voice acting, there was music.
Yep.
There we go.
So so we had Apollo give her thoughts last week since she also got to see it early. So I think they are in alignment. So it looks like there's some positive buzz coming off here.
She also said it was a movie.
She did.
We saw the same thing then. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. We've still got copies of our exclusive Skybound Transformers #1 with the cover art by EJ Sue. You can pick that up at transmissionspodcast.com/comic. And we will ship that right out to you. So we've still got a bunch left if you want to get your copy. And you can still use our code to get 15% off at toyhacks.com. This month, the code has changed. The month of September, the code is TF1. That's TFONE, spell out one as a word. Very easy to remember, with the movie that's coming out this month, you should be aware if you are a Transformers fan. So TF1, TFONE, use that code for your 15% off at toyhacks.com. You can use that code as many times as you want in the month of September. Cannot be combined with any other promo codes, but can be used with your RoboPoints or any gift codes. If you get a gift card or gift code you are using at Toy Hacks, that's just like cash payment. That's the payment option. So you can still use our code for that. And of course, we have our winner from our Toy Hacks contest. That was the winner was drawn in the toy show just a couple days ago. So they will be able to take advantage of this as well. All right. That's all the intro. Let's jump right into our comic review.
All right. We are reviewing Scarlett #4 this week. There's only one more issue in this miniseries.
It's one too many.
This was written by Kelly Thompson, art by Marco Ferrari, colors by Lee Lothridge, letters by Russ Wooten, and editors Ben Abernathy. And the issue starts right where the issue ended last time. Scarlett and Jinx are reunited, but they're not necessarily alone. Before they say anything, Jinx signals to Scarlett with her hands that there are eyes and ears everywhere. Then she introduces herself in Japanese, as they haven't officially met yet. Scarlett asks if they're done now that the energy shield is down, but she said they're not, and Storm Shadow will have to explain. So they enter the room where the item was, and there's a glowing pit. Storm Shadow says that the weapon went down the pit, and they know that the enemy is amassing below them on level 44. He says they're going to send the strike force there, and he orders Jinx and Scarlett to find a He orders Jinx and Scarlett to find a different path, and he'll meet them there. Scarlett immediately thinks that there's no way the weapon was moved to level 44, but Jinx grabs her before she could finish her thought. They go to a hallway, and Jinx activates a localized EMP that puts them in the dark and gives them about 2 minutes with no surveillance to talk. Jinx says that she has some intel stashed on her, and she directs Scarlett to the lining of her boot to grab it. Scarlett lets her know that Stalker sent her, and Jinx says that that's who recruited her for the mission, and she's happy to know that he still cares that she's still alive. Scarlett wants to know why Jinx told her not to follow her if she did want out of the Arashikage. And Jinx replies that she wanted Scarlett alive, but Scarlett wanted Jinx alive too. And after seeing her in Monaco, nothing could have stopped her from coming. In her lighter moment, Scarlett also takes the opportunity to let Jinx know that she's nearly killed all of her plants, but not on purpose. As they're talking, Storm Shadow's forces have arrived on level 44, and they were ambushed. They're holding their own, and the forces are no match for Storm Shadow once he arrives. Scarlett realizes that with Jinx giving her the intel to her, that means that she's staying with the Arashikage. She's not able to change her mind, and Scarlett's not able to change Jinx's mind. And the weapon going to the Arashikage might be bad, but there's a third party that's come onto the scene that's worse, Cobra. Scarlett decides that she's going to help finish this mission and explains that 444 has to be a trap because it's an unlucky number. Floor 47, where it was stored before, was luckier, but 48 would be even better. What if they move the item up while making everyone believe it was going down? Jinx is on board with this, and they head through the ventilation shafts to floor 48, where they see the weapon and the people that are waiting for Cobra to come and retrieve it. They used a plan that they had previously used on a mission in Colombia, and Scarlett hopes that it goes a little bit better than that one. As they fight, they quickly get into sync as if they had never been apart, but Cobra forces enter and they are outgunned. So Scarlett radios for help, and Storm Shadow joins in the fight, and both the forces are quickly dispatched. However, and now all the enemies are left, or now that all the enemies are gone, they are left with the box containing the weapon, the fabled Sword of Life, and as Storm Shadow grabs it, Scarlett has a sense of dread coming over her. To be concluded. So this was a little wordy at times. I thought the action was good. I liked how they had action going over, like we saw the Storm Shadow fight while Jinx and Scarlett were talking. I think that's a better way of doing it rather than having just multiple pages of just seeing two characters talking. So you're seeing what's happening at the same time. So I appreciated that. The art, I think, was still pretty good through the entire, like as it has been through the entire series. And this went in a direction that I wasn't expecting from the end of the last issue. I was expecting, because we saw the Cobra helicopter land at the end of the last issue, I was thinking that Storm Shadow was supposed to get the weapon to then give it to Cobra. I wasn't thinking that the people that had the weapon were the ones selling it to Cobra. So that was interesting. And then with Storm Shadow getting the sword in the end, I see that there's going to be a fight in the next issue, probably between Scarlett and Storm Shadow. And I think Jinx is probably going to have to make a decision between staying in the clan or saving Scarlett. That's kind of my prediction there. But overall, I'm enjoying the series. I like the spy take on Scarlett. So, Daryl, what were your thoughts on this book? It had no Transformers or Energon references at all.
Oh, you mean the sword at the end wasn't made of Energon?
I mean,
that's what I thought.
We haven't. Well, I mean, it might be. We don't know. It didn't mention it.
Was that not a G.I. Joe Super reference? I assumed that all the G.I. Joe fans creamed their pants when they saw this sword. I had no idea what this sword was supposed to be, but I assume that all the G.I. Joe fans wet their pants when they saw it. The story was fine. The action scenes were kind of good. I enjoyed those. They were good. The Scarlett and Jinx, they're a couple, right? Like they're together.
I don't know. I mean,
so
they haven't really said one way or the other.
Like
I'm still taking it as they're really good friends.
Like let's just make it official.
It seems like friendship to me. I mean, all the flashbacks and everything seem leaning towards more on the side of friendship.
It wouldn't surprise me either way they go with it.
Why don't you kiss the girl?
Sebastian had a Jamaican accent, not a Russian accent.
That was close enough.
It was not. Charles is probably less offensive.
Okay.
So anyway, but the story was fine. I get that Scarlett's been trying to get a moment alone with Jinx for a while here, and she finally got it. So she just kind of, like, in lack of a better term, info dumped on her, like what's been going on, where Where are you? Why can't you come? Where are you coming back? What's happening? Why aren't I? And all that stuff. So anyway, the book is fine. The fights were great. I thought the fights were great. The action sequences were the movement of the camera. It made it look good. There was a one double page spread where you could see like the characters' movements through through all the bad guys and kind of as they sliced and diced around the room. Yeah, I mean the cover shows Scarlett and Storm Shadow fighting. They didn't do that, so it's a little bit of a lie.
It also shows her holding a glowing sword.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be for the next issue.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, same complaint as I always have. This has nothing to do with Transformers. I don't know why we're doing it. Next week we review Spider-Man.
All right. So Charles, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was fine. Yeah, I mean it's not it's not doing a whole lot for me. The Scarlet series in general. I mean, the secret agent stuff is fine. The art, I think the art is really good. I like the art. I think all the characters and everything are really nicely rendered. Yeah, this at the end the sword does look like it's glowing pink, so maybe it's infused with Energon or something. I don't know. I do vaguely remember Storm Shadow having like a super magic sword back in the 80s cartoon that could like cut through everything. And I think there was one episode where like his sword squared off with like someone wielding Excalibur. It might have been Snake Eyes wielding Excalibur and they were fighting. And maybe I'm misremembering that. I don't know, but I just remember like one animation scene of Storm Shadow like slicing through a marble pillar with a sword to show how powerful that sword was. So I'm guessing that this is the same sword that they're referencing here. But I don't really remember anything else. So if anyone's watching who were bigger G.I. Joe fans than we were, write in and let us know the details about Storm Shadow's sword. But I thought it was fine. One thing I really thought was interesting was Jinx talking about like how her undercover work is really like wearing on her psyche. Like she mentions how it's like she has to constantly be on guard to maintain her her cover, but she also like it's wearing on her, but she also realizes like this is something that she is innately suited for and is like perfect for. So she really enjoy, like she really likes like having a purpose and doing this undercover work, and she thinks it's really important, but it's also like she has to constantly be someone she's not, which has got to be taxing. So I really like that dichotomy. It made me feel like it reminded me a bit of how like Counterpunch Punch has been portrayed in other Transformers stories about constantly being a double agent and having to maintain that facade all the time. So yeah, that's a stretch for a Transformers reference, but there you go. But yeah, I mean, I think Jinx is much more interesting to me than Scarlett in this series so far. So, I'm wondering how they're going to wrap things up in the last issue. I imagine, either they'll both leave or maybe Jinx will be uncovered and she'll either be killed or have to leave with Scarlett or something like that. But I guess we'll see. I wonder if Cobra Commander. Well, actually, it says next Cobra Commander, so I guess Cobra Commander is going to show up in the next issue.
Yeah, that was the tease at the end.
Yeah, so we're slowly inching towards the fully formed GI Joe comic that we'll get in November. So all the pieces are falling into place, I guess.
All right. Well, that is our comic review.
All right. Well, let's move on with some media news. And here's all the Transformer stuff, Daryl.
Finally, 20 minutes into the show. All right. So, rumor, not even official. Rumor has it that Microsoft Studios is working on 2 new Transformers video game projects. So, yeah. So the breakdown is that Microsoft Studios now owns Activision Blizzard, which formerly was just Activision, which was the company that acquired the tech giant that produced the Transformers War of Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games. That was Moon?
Moon
Studios. Yeah, they were.
Activision
Activision was the publisher, but Moon Studios was the developer.
Right. So anyway, ipso facto, Microsoft Studios owns the Transformers video game rights at this point. They it's and they have all the what is it, the pieces of that, I guess.
All of they have all the assets and everything.
That's the word I was looking for, the assets. Yeah. Right. So yeah.
And I don't think they have all I don't think they have all the rights to do Transformer games, because Reactivate is a different company, if that ever happens. But they do, I'm sure if they wanted to do upscaled, like, new versions of these 2 games, Hasbro would give them the right. I mean, these are great games.
Mm-hmm. And remember, there's still some controversy or confusion as to whether they have the games ready to dust off and put back out, because a few months ago there was some kerfluffle over they lost the code or something, but then Activision said, no, we didn't lose the code, we have the code.
I think they found the zip drive they had sorted on.
I don't think that they'd want to actually put out a game that's like 15 years old at this point. They'd probably just make new games, right? So like, the games are good, those 2 games are great, but I think at this point the fandom is ready for new games.
Well, that's Reactivate, right? Maybe these could be remasters of those old games. I mean, those would be easier to put out quickly while we're waiting on Reactivate. Mm-hmm. But maybe they could be new games too. Maybe they're completely new games. I don't know.
Next we have a small little piece of animation that got dropped by some small animation studio called Studio Trigger, they apparently want to get in on the whole 40th anniversary of Transformers. So there's a lot of people that are really stoked about this. There are rumors flying around about what it could be. Everything from are we going to get a series, like a small little mini series, or are we going to get it could just be a 5-minute interstitial, right? So it could be something really small. Anyway, we got a small little teaser. Studio Trigger is very, very well regarded in the animation community. So it'd be very cool to see anything Transformers related from them. So look forward to that. We got 2 new interviews from some hotshot voice actors. These guys are legends in the industry at this point. We got interviews from Greg Berger and Dan Gilvezan, and both of them have put out these small little, like, just under 5-minute interviews for the Transformers 40th anniversary, and they're fun. I started watching the Gilvezan one, and then my son took over the television. So
I do
gotta watch Bluey.
Yeah, I do think I was with the Transformers 1 marketing and all of the like actors were like talking about previous incarnations and stuff. Or they're always talking about like giving Bumblebee a voice in this movie. I'm like, Bumblebee had a voice for like 30 something years until the Michael Bay movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I feel like Dan Gilvezan was kind of like forgotten for a while. So I'm happy to see this because I mean, he was probably the number 3 voice on the G1 show.
Mm-hmm. And he is in this interview. He is wearing the most kick-ass shirt I've ever seen. A little button down, but it's made up of G1 Marvel comic art. So it's
Optimus Prime
awesome.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We have had both of these voice actors on transmissions in the past, so we can, if you go back in the archives, you can listen to our chats with both Dan Gilvezan and Greg Berger. So those were highlights of our podcasting life here. We got Jeremy and I sat down with Greg Berger in person at a TFCon that was in Charlotte, I believe.
Yeah.
And then we did a phone back when we had to do Skype over the phone with Dan Gilvezan. we did a discussion with him. That was cool.
Yeah, both great guys.
Yeah, and Dan Gilvezan actually, I saw him at TFCon LA this year, and I just mentioned to him how we had done an interview with him several years ago, and he said, "Oh, you got me when I was still doing interviews. I don't even do podcast interviews anymore just because it's too it takes too much time." So we got something that I guess you won't see again from any non-official source other than I guess whenever Hasbro calls, Dan will be like, "Yes, sure, I'll do an interview."
I'm sure he didn't do it for free.
Yeah,
I'm sure they paid everybody that was doing this.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then lastly, what we've got here is a couple things, a little bit of merch. So the Transformers 1 merch train is really starting to pick up some speed here. And we've got the merch available that's going to be at the theaters at Cinemark theaters. These are a U.S. theater, so anyone outside of the U.S., you can you can ignore me. I didn't pay attention to the story either, but I guess I have to read it. This is a Orion Pax drink bottle, B127 popcorn container with a lanyard, Orion Pax snack and drink vessel, a cup and topper combo set, a fleece blanket, movie enamel 4-pin set, and official posters and clothing. So, yeah.
The blanket I'm interested in. I'm like, how cold are their theaters that they have to sell blankets?
Yeah, so that's going to be available and you can get that. And then the last thing that we have is the tickets are on sale and the early fan event is available. So, so the fan event is Wednesday, September the 18th at 7 p.m. Ticket holders receive 1 of 4 keychain and collector prints. And and then there's a early access for people if you wanted to get it like even earlier than the fan event is Saturday, September the 14th at 5 p.m. That's at participating theaters, which is actually happening here in Canada too. So, which is wild. So, yeah.
Yep. I got my tickets for the early access on September 14th. So I'm going to see it.
Hot damn. Okay.
I do not have tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already saw it.
I am going to see it again. I just have to figure out when, but I am going to see it again.
Yeah, cool. the fan event on the 18th, it doesn't seem to be anywhere near me. I think it's only, at least in the US, it's only through AMC theaters, and the ones in my area are not doing that. So that's a bummer for me. but maybe the early access on the 14th that is at Cinemark. Maybe they'll have some of that merchandise available.
Well, I just checked my theater, which is not a Cinemark, and for the early access, 5 p.m. and that's all the open seats. So I gotta see if I'm busy that day. If not, I'll see it again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, there's a Comic-Con in town, so my daughter wants to go to the Comic-Con, and so I may, if I have to see it, might be going by myself.
I am camping that day.
Oh, the Comic-Con won't she won't want to leave before 5 for the Comic-Con. Like she can't go during the day and then go see the movie at 5.
I don't know. She's going with a friend.
Oh, okay. Teenagers having lives of their own and wanting to do stuff on their own.
It's so stupid.
All right. I think that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. So we are continuing to stay on the hype train for Transformers 1. Jeremy has already seen it. We're hopefully, I'm going to hopefully see it, or both Daryl and I are hopefully going to see it in a little more than a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will, of course, hopefully everyone else out there get a chance to see it soon. And then, of course, we will do our full review and spoilers and all that good stuff after the fact. I guess, it seems like the reason they're able to do these early events is because internationally, I think in the UK and other places, this is releasing on the 13th, on September 13th. Mm-hmm. So you can't really embargo something if it's released in one part of the world. You know, in the internet age, you can't really keep it embargoed.
Also, I mean, they've done all these other screenings, and from what I understand with the movie industry is the more faith they have in a film, the more early promotion like this they do to even get more word of mouth. Yeah. So I feel like they have a hit. After seeing it, I feel like they have a hit. So I'm excited to see what happens. My only fear is the part of the fandom that you know who they are just gonna shit all over, just because it's not the 86 movie. And the 86 movie holds a special place in our hearts, but a lot of that is viewed through nostalgia glasses and stand on its own. This is a good movie.
Yeah, we made that same point last week that the fact that they're getting so much advance access to it means they're really trying to hype it up, and they're really proud of it and think it'll stand on its own. So I hope that's true. I hope this makes all the money and they say, okay, we should green light all the next animated Transformers movies and keep pumping them out, and keep paying attention to the Transformers as characters, not as props for human stories. So.
I would take 10 more of these over any of the live action movies, including Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts.
Mm-hmm. All right. I haven't seen it yet, and I'd probably still agree with you.
Yeah. I'm still looking forward to being able to talk spoilers. Oh, so much meat in there.
Awesome. And shout out to Josh Cooley, who is apparently a real Transformers fan. He's a real one.
Yeah. He such a great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many deep cuts and like little Easter eggs all over. We need to do an Easter egg video.
Here's all the things you missed in Transformers 1.
Yeah. The 60 Easter eggs you missed, 90 more.
All right, everyone. That's it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. At And those are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon. And that's why we think they deserve a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John Forex Levingood, Demon Tech 82, and Steve C. You guys rock. Thank you so much. We love you. And that we love all our listeners, all our watchers. Thank you everyone for supporting the show, watching the show, enjoying us, watching us every week. We really appreciate it. If you have any feedback for us, write in, let us know what you're thinking of either the comics we're reviewing or, maybe did you get to see Transformers 1 early? Let us know what your thoughts are. Or come back after you've seen it and give us, some of your opinions. So thanks everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.